It's a historic Premier League rivalry. We can't wait for this one on Super Sunday. Arsenal and Manchester United renew hostilities. Right at the start of the Premier League in 1992-93, it was United who were the dominant force under Sir Alex Ferguson. And here we have got both sides Premier League finishes since the start of the Premier League. We have got Arsenal, you can follow them in the red. Manchester United are in the black. Now, as we mentioned, United were top of the tree most of the time anyway at the start of the Premier League under Sir Alex Ferguson. But then in 97-98, someone came along called Arsene Wenger. And that rivalry really became one of the most bitter in the division. United and Arsenal swapping places at the top of the Premier League, first and second. In the mid-2000s, that's when things started to change a little bit. The arrival of someone called Jose Mourinho meant that Arsenal were left behind a little bit, and it was United and Chelsea fighting for things at the top of the table. And then my lines get a bit squiggly, and it's because both sides lost long-serving managers. You might know what happens here to Manchester United. Sir Alex Ferguson leaves, and then a little bit later on here, we've got Arsene Wenger leaving Arsenal. Arsenal have been in a little bit of pain since Arsene Wenger left, but none more than really Manchester United. Ruben Amorim has that league finish down there. But as we head towards 25-26 this season, it's Arsenal at the summit and Manchester United's line is on the rise. How will the season finish? Mikel Carrick, we mentioned it earlier, he has an impressive CV, having gone unbeaten against Unai Emery, Thomas Tuchel, Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta. And they beat Arsenal at Old Trafford in his first spell as interim. We saw a warm embrace between Bruno Fernandes and Mikel Carrick there. And 4 years later, Fernandes is still the heartbeat of the team, still performing at the highest level. Now, this season, we have plotted every player to have created a chance. We have got open play chances created along the x-axis, and in the Y, we have got chances created via set pieces, and this is every player who's created a chance this season. Now, if you're in the top right, you are doing very, very well indeed. Fernandes is up there, way ahead of everybody else. Most chances created from open play and most chances created from set pieces. It's almost like he does this every year. We take it for granted a little bit how good he is. Look where he is, way ahead of everybody else. And if I know people are interested at home, Fernandes obviously tops the list for open play, second on the list for open play. You'll know him, Jeremy Doku. And second on the list for set plays is for Leeds fans. Anton Stack has created the second most chances from set pieces this season.
That's a great stat. How do you think he's going to get on, Mikel Carrick? I mean, he's got off to a flyer, hasn't he? Beating the noisy neighbours.
Oh, I thought it was coming. I was waiting so long to be so quiet about it. I was at the game actually working for City, and obviously Michael I know well, played with him at Spurs. He lives right near me. And for him to get given this opportunity, you know, he was there for some time, wanting to try and progress as a manager, as a young coach. He waited and he did all the hard yards, and then went on to Middlesbrough. It didn't really work out. He showed some real good promise there. And recently I played a bit of paddle with him actually, so we can't talk about that game.
No, I just want to know who.
I was injured. I had my knee operation. So I'm making an excuse. So it was like, you know, it's his first time he's found himself, you know, out of a job and out of football.
Yeah.
And it's a strange feeling actually. And he's probably watching Manchester United thinking, you know, imagine one day if I could, have I lost my chance to be back at Manchester United after not doing so well with Middlesbrough? Should I go back in? Should I have another go? Is it worth staying away from my family for, you know, 2 years like he's just done, and then for it to drop in his lap and to get that win, and as he charged down, you know, it brings special moments.
Yeah. I just have to touch on Arsenal. Obviously, that's who they're up against at the weekend. Can you see beyond them for the title, or you did say earlier on, if you missed it, that City are going to come on a gallop?
We were waiting for City's run, weren't we? But I thought he was there. I thought it was closing up, and the pressure was getting there. Looked like Arsenal were all the way, then it come really close. Now it's gone back favourites for Arsenal, and they've got to come to the Etihad. But pressure will mount, it will increase, but they're in a good position. I think the squad depth's fantastic. Mikel Arteta at the start of the season was getting criticised, which I found was quite amazing. Former players also were doing that, saying he must go if he doesn't deliver. And I asked the question about that, and they said, well, ultimately, some of the players that they've had are winners. You do not win, you are replaced. And that's fair enough at some point, but I don't think it's as simple as it when you look at the competition around, and I think they're in a good position. I think they're going well. I like the style of play. It's a bit fiery at times with Arteta, that desperation to go and deliver and win.
You like fiery, don't you? It's part of your
We've got
DNA,
to. We've got to be DNA. You've got to have a good battle along the way. But you know, Arsenal fans, what will be next if they don't do it? I think that is the main concern because of what we live with today. It's all theirs now. You know, Man City, you're going to have to find them a really, really top run, put the pressure back on. You know, if it was sort of neck and neck, you're sort of going, Arsenal are going to wobble. City are going to take it. They need to keep that gap where they're quite comfortable. And they've got that at this moment of time. And Aston Villa, just as they looked like they were going to do something. I was at the game at weekend and they just couldn't get in the stride. And it was sort of a well-earned away performance from Everton. So it's all pointing, isn't it, to North London and not the side that I possibly know, the other side in Arsenal.
Yes. Just finally on Arsenal then, Gyökeres, is he convincing you at the moment or not? Who would
not
you
yet.
start up front?
No,
okay.
Not yet. I think he certainly contributes. He sets the press off at the front, dynamic runs, but delivery of goals. I don't think anybody will care, will they, at the end of the season if Arsenal are Premier League champions? Look at them in the Champions League also as well. But really, we're looking to sort of make them an elite team to make sure that they win it for some years. You wouldn't say he would be that person. Is he contributing in such a big way? Yes. But it's just the next step to guarantee it would be someone who would deliver more goals. Can he get more would be the next question. And what's great there is he's already seen it with the Ronaldo goals and beating Arsenal. But what he'll bring calmness. He's very, you know, however well he does, Michael, he's always very cool and calm. Press conferences won't be as lively. Some of the guys that come to me said, what are we going to do about the press conferences? We want a bit of something. I said he'll be very, very just down the line, very straight. But what he'll do is he'll give them a belief that he can go on and do it. I think he'll be delivering information. I think they've been quite cute with the backroom staff for this short period of time. Is Michael fortunate to get given this role? You would say yes, from you leaving Middlesbrough to then going to be manager of Manchester United. But I think he'll have the utmost respect with the players straight away because the way he'll treat them. And Bruno Fernandes, just looking at those stats. I mean, listen, for all I go and cover Manchester United, he's the one person I've been banging on about for many years now. He does special things, doesn't he? Do you know, like when he gets the ball, he'll create a chance, he'll try something. And he's been a real leader, and he'll try and get him on the ball as much as possible. Yeah,
and Terry Henry did some great analysis on Monday Night Football of the breakaway goal from Bumo and how Bruno Fernandes just engineered that move. It was brilliant. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it because it was really good analysis. And actually, Michael Carrick only had a couple of days with that team ahead of the City game. Now, I know City weren't very good in that game, but for not only the game plan to look so good, but for the players to execute it in that short space of time, now he's had a full week. What's the game plan against Arsenal? What do they do against this Arsenal side? Is it similar, sit back and transitions?
Well, I think as well. I think with having Brian and Bremo at the top of the pitch, you could get after them. Do you know, not just sit and wait. You could actually go and press and be dynamic and try and get in behind. And you know the balls and the deliveries will come. And now we can't judge too much now what happens next. Whether we get too carried away, I would say, well, it was a one game. There was always going to get reaction. Manchester City were very poor. They played right into their hands and it could have been a lot worse. But it's now a step up for Manchester United to gain that confidence and belief, and why not? And not to celebrate too much because as a group and as a collective, they've been poor for some time. And I think that's the only danger. They've got to start delivering more as a group, being harder to beat, more dynamic. You talk about Casemiro, out of possession. Manchester United for some time have been really bad.
I want you to ask him next time you play paddle with him, because he's talked about the future and he's kind of dismissed it and said, you know, I'm thinking of the job.
I'm not back yet. He's seen the Manchester United. I'm still waiting. I'm home for the next few weeks. But he's gone now. There's no paddle partners.
Well, you need to get.
I only played once, by the way. But I'm just saying he felt like he was, you know, just sort of having a look at what his future is. And now things change quickly, isn't it? Football.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In terms of the future, if he does well, they'd be foolish, wouldn't they, not to give it him permanently? Or is he not a big enough name? Or have we stepped on from those?
He's a big enough name, right, because of what he's done as a player.
Yeah.
But as a coach, to be Manchester United leader, you have to earn it. And I feel like even in a couple of months, then really it's still not ideal. unless there isn't another option. If Thomas Tuchel comes up and says, right, I'm going to commit to Manchester United for the next 3 years, I'm going to work with the group of the football director, Jason Wilcox, who's going to be very, very much hands-on regards to recruitment. The owner is as well, Omar Barada as well, who will have big control of those decisions. There's sort of 3 people straight away you're going to have to align, where Thomas Tuchel is going to say, this is how I do it.
Yeah.
Unai Emery will say, this is how I do it at Aston Villa. Are they going to go away from that and allow him to do it, or they're going to try and mould a coach or somebody who's in the system? Then Michael could be that person, but he's got a long way to go. He's going to need not just a real top run of results towards the end of the season to get them to Champions League positions. He's going to have to show so much regards to how he fits into that structure. And then somebody else not necessarily being available, one of these top candidates, which you would expect Manchester United to be targeting.
He's come in and he can look at what he's got in front of him. Will he want reinforcements in this window, do you think?
Well, yeah,
I mean, you can get on the phone to him now.
Of course he will. Do you know, why would he not? I feel Manchester United as a club, that'll be something they'll be trying to build. And the will, since the ownership changed, that they're already ready to strike. They've already got the list of players, what they need, and ahead of the game much more than they have been. The recruitment over the years have been very slow. They couldn't make decisions. Then they've spent loads of money on people that not necessarily have done so well and wasted it. So we look at other models that have been really slick. They will be trying to get that right now with what they've got behind the scenes. And then wherever they can help Michael, that's going to be a bonus. If you're a player, though, at this moment, top player, are you going to want to pick Manchester United?
Well, that was my next question.
Well, there you go.
Well done for reading my mind. No, I want you to answer that one.
Do you know,
are they as attractive as they once were?
That is the thing. They're not as attractive.
Okay.
And because of that manager situation, but we can look at Mark Gay. How long's Pep going to be around? Is Arne Slot? You know, is that a situation why you don't change? All these football clubs, Spurs now under pressure. It's almost gone like, are you signing for the club rather than you were going for that manager, a Jurgen Klopp. You say, well, I want to play for him for the next 2 or 3 years, and we don't really have a much of that at this moment in time at the top of the Premier League. So Mikel Arteta is one you would say would be a leader for those players if there is a top one, that they'll be coming in to try and take them. But they need maybe a couple more, you would say. If you can do it now, just freshen up. There's nothing better when a player comes in, you know, and you just look, the training lift, everything about it. The fans get a big lift, and it's going to be interesting
Michael Brown
again.
arrives at club.
Well, Michael Carrick actually arrived at Spurs, and I'm thinking, oh, it's not too bad. Then he got quite good. Then it was Edgar Davids, then it was Jermaine Jenas. I'm like, let's go somewhere else. So it can have a negative effect, let me tell you. But a player, you sort of go, really? But you've got to have competition. These top football clubs now, you're not at it for one session. You can be replaced very quickly. But Manchester United has been a huge mess, and what is going to be next? And it doesn't stop surprising, does it? Casemiro today. Do we have to do it? You know, when is he going to leave? You know, is it the end of the season? Is that a definite, or will something change sooner rather than later?
I think from United's perspective, they're expecting Casemiro to go at the end of the season. I think that's essentially what's going to happen.
Do you think it's not interesting how it is now, though? Do you know, right in this particular timing?
Well, I mean, from the player's point of view, it allows him to kind of freely go about sorting out his future. I know he's only got a few months left anyway, so he would be able to talk to clubs outside of the Premier League. But I guess it gives him a little bit more leverage to go out and speak to other clubs.
Or
it gives everyone
close by, possibly. Do you know, that might start to come out.
And it just gives everyone a little bit of clarity as well as to what's going to happen. United would like to free up the wages, I think, from Casemiro for next season. They're targeting midfield. I think they're very much engineering their spending towards the summer rather than this transfer window. They're looking at players like Elliot Anderson, like Carlos Baleba, Adam Wharton, those types of players to come in and strengthen that midfield. And they're different kinds of players to Casemiro. So it feels like United are going to be moving in a slightly different direction. And maybe Casemiro was a lightning rod, really, for the mistakes of the past for Manchester United when Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos weren't involved, signing big contracts for players and almost having a contract as a millstone around their neck, carrying that big wage for Casemiro.
But they almost had to do that to get the players to come, because that was the other thing now, and they're still a little bit like that, where they're going to have to pay possibly more than others. And let's be honest, the other clubs are going to drive that up as well, aren't they, with showing interest in these players.
for you to get your crystal ball out, because I'm going to be getting your predictions.
Okay.
Starting with the Champions League final, end of May. Who's winning it?
There's no doubt this mob tonight, Arsenal, have got a really good chance of being there, but I just think because of what PSG did last year, the players that they have, I'm just going to edge it with PSG, but Arsenal won't be far away.
Who are they beating in the final?
Probably Arsenal.
Yeah?
Yeah.
5-0 scoreline again?
I don't think so, no. But I think with the confidence and the belief that Arsenal have, and you've seen the turnover of players in terms of the squad that he can leave on the bench and it still look a very, very strong team and a team capable of coming and winning here tonight, which will certainly help them in the months ahead. So, yeah, PSG and Arsenal.
Okay, so you're not backing Arsenal to win the Champions League. Will they win a trophy, though?
I think they'll win the Premier League. Yeah, I think with the 7 points they've got, it was a really good weekend for them last weekend with City and Villa dropping points again. So yeah, again I go back to the squad, how many changes they can make that it doesn't affect this. They're getting injuries back with Jesus and with Havertz as well. So and I think defensively that's the key for me, is that they don't give many goals away and they're so strong at the back. So I think they'll go ahead and they'll do it.
With City signing Semenyo and Guehi, will they push them all the way?
I think they will push them all the way. I think those two are very good signings for January signings. We've already seen Semenyo have an impact, albeit not so much at the weekend. I think their problems, certainly Man City defensively, they definitely needed someone in to help them out in the centre-back position, and Guehi is a very, very good addition. So they'll push them because of their experience, but I'm not sure they'll have enough, and I think Arsenal will take it.
The Golden Boot?
Haaland.
Okay, and...
Didn't take long to think about that one, did it?
Who's winning the World Cup?
Oh, who's winning the World Cup? As much as I'd love to say England, I think we'll have a really good tournament. We've got some incredible players. When the rest of the world looks at England and sees how many top quality players we have, then we can go deep into the tournament.